Tech layoffs continue, guys. Over the last few weeks, you have heard of large companies that have laid off their employees. You're talking about Twitter, you're talking about Meta, you're talking about Amazon, you're talking about Time, Stripe, Lyft, Salesforce, and Cisco are all the companies over the last 2 weeks who have announced layoffs affecting a large number of people. And if you are one of those individuals who have been laid off most recently or in the past, there's a number of steps that you can take that we're going to talk about in this video so that you can bounce back fast. Yes, this video is to help individuals who have been laid off or who may potentially get laid off to bounce back as quick as possible. I was reading an article on Business Insider and I came across a lady by the name of Janet Ann, and she's been laid off 4 times. And when I read her article, there were some known patterns. At first, she worked for Reddit and she was in an HR role and her entire team was disbanded. And guess what happened, guys? She was laid off. And then she worked in HR at another tech company and then she was laid off. And then she switched her role getting out of HR, because we know that the majority of roles who have been laid off in these tech roles most recently are HR, marketing, and recruiting. Recruiting being hit a huge amount. However, she decided to make the switch to go into a support engineer role. And she worked for that role, and she worked in that role for 2 years, and she was laid off. And she said this was the most difficult role and the most difficult layoff that she's had to deal with, because she loved her team and she loved the work that she did. Switching from HR to a support engineer role is a very difficult role, and you have to learn a good amount of skills in order for you to switch to a role as such. And then after that, she was laid off again. She went to another tech company and she became a software engineer, and she was most recently laid off as well. So 4 layoffs. Many of you guys haven't been laid off at all. Many of you guys, this may be your first one or your second one. And you have to bounce back, guys. Being laid off is going to happen to just about everybody within their career. You're either going to get fired or you're going to be laid off, because the tides turn. Sometimes the job market is going up, and sometimes the job market's going down. And depending on where you sit in the company, you may be impacted by a layoff. But a layoff isn't the end of the world. What really matters is how you bounce back. And in today's video, we're going to give you 5 tips so that you can bounce back as quick as possible. What's up, ladder climbers? My name is Antoine Wade and I run the Black Heights channel, where we talk about tech in careers and ways that you can climb the ladder to make a solid living for yourself as well as for your family. And guys, we're going to give you 5 tips today that you should use immediately. I mean, immediately if you have been laid off. Guys, if you've been laid off, the first thing that you should do is to file for unemployment the same day that you've been laid off. Take your severance package, make sure you have access to all of your paid documents so that you can apply for unemployment. It's important. You're going to need a way so that you can gain or get some additional money, and filing for unemployment is very important. So make sure you have your severance package. Make sure you also have access to your previous pay stubs and so forth, so that you can share that in the unemployment office. The second thing that you should do, guys, is to reach out to your network. Yes, layoffs are hard, and many people are going to feel ashamed and reluctant to tell people that they've been laid off. Yes, I would feel ashamed as well too. However, you have to suck it up, manage your pride, and make sure that you are vulnerable in this situation. Reach out to your network, share with people what happened, because at the end of the day, it happens to everybody. So whether you're going to post in your Slack group or your LinkedIn or anything like that, make sure you reach out to people so that the people that care about you will help you out. I've seen a number of people who posted that they've been laid off most recently, and within a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they've already posted that they've landed another role. So reach out to your network. People are out there willing to help you. I've helped a number of people who've been laid off or fired within their career to gain another job. So you definitely make sure that you reach out to your network in this situation. The third thing I want you to do is this, guys. The process that the layoff isn't your fault. Now, if you are a quiet quitter, you were laid off because you were doing a minimum, then it is your fault. It is your fault. However, if you are a person that was in recruiting and all of a sudden you got laid off, and you were a high performer and you got laid off because guess what, guys, the companies aren't hiring. they aren't hiring. So if the companies aren't hiring and you don't have anything to do, you're going to get laid off. And if you are a top performer, it impacts you. And just know that it isn't your fault. Process that it isn't your fault and understand that leaders have to make decisions based on numbers itself. At the end of the day, put yourself in a situation where you are a leader for a company and all of a sudden you have to put hiring on hold and you ultimately have to reduce costs. You have to lay off people. And the people that you're going to lay off are the people who don't have much work. Okay, so put yourself in that position as well too, to understand that it isn't your fault. You could be a high performer, and I know it's very difficult to not feel that it is your fault, but it isn't your fault. So make sure that you take some time to process it and to understand that it isn't your fault. And the fourth thing that I will leave you guys with is this: use your time while you can. Right? Being laid off, you're going to have additional time on your hands. So maybe you should upskill. Maybe you should take a course. Maybe you should take a boot camp. Maybe you should talk to somebody to gain some insights about the industry if you're going to make a transition from another industry to another industry. Make sure you use your time while you can, since you have this free time now. Make sure you study, upskill, talk to people, learn more so that you can hit the ground running as fast as possible. And the last tip that I'm going to give you guys is this: figure out what your dream job is. Yes, you should figure out what your dream job is. Write down what you're good at. Write down what it is that you like. Write down the types of people that you want to work for, the types of companies that you want to work for, and then go out there and start to talk to these individuals. Talk to the individuals who are in the role that you want to be in and learn from them. Learn if it's the right decision for you to go down a path like this. And when you talk to people, it's going to help you gain some clarity on what it is that you ultimately should be doing. So make sure that you reach out to other people while you're searching for your dream job. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Also, leave me a comment if you've been laid off. And leave me a comment if you think these tips will ultimately help you. Leave me a comment if you're scared to be laid off as well too. But ultimately, with this video is to help the individuals who've been laid off to bounce back as quick as possible. Guys, it's going to happen to just about everybody in their career, so don't be ashamed. Make sure you bounce back as quick as possible, because we want you to gain additional income. And having success in your career is putting all the elements together so that you can have a satisfying career, a satisfying life, and making the money that you ultimately want to make. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, peace.